According to the technology quotes section contained in brainyquotes.com, a website with no latest update, James Comey says, "Technology has forever changed the world we live in. We're online one way or another all day long. Our phones and computers have become part of our personalities, our interests, and our identities. Today, this almost seems like a no-brainer. Of course, technology has become more and more prevalent in communication, and in a sense, it almost has to. Have you ever taken a second to look back and think about how much technology has changed society? Things like smartphones and TVs have changed the way we communicate. Today, I will first explain communication before technology, second, communication with technological devices, and third, communication with social media. Before technology became the commonality that it is today, communication relied heavily on personal connections. The most common and obvious form of this was word of mouth. A majority of people in early civilizations depended on being able to tell somebody something face to face, and if they didn't see them that day, they had to rely on telling someone else and hoping that information got passed on. Another form of communication before technology was handwritten letters. This was mainly used if the person was at a distance that was unreachable by foot. Now, while we use both of these forms of communication and they seem outdated, they actually have very real benefits. When you're talking to someone face to face, it is easy as well as natural to show how you feel about a subject. When you're messaging over the phone, this can almost be impossible. It also becomes easier to limit distractions because you are in the moment with that person instead of two places at once. In the case of letters, handwriting has actually shown to improve your memory on the topic of discussion. According to an article titled 3 Scientific Links Between Handwriting, Your Notes, and Memory, contained in redbooth.com, last updated 2016 with Susie Frisch, paper note-takers' brains are working to digest, summarize, and capture the heart of information. This, in turn, promotes understanding and retention. While technology will always continue to advance, word of mouth will maintain some type of presence in society due to the accessibility in many different situations. Handwriting, on the other hand, is becoming more and more a thing of the past. Communication has transformed from what it was in the past due to technological devices, such as cell phones and televisions. Conversations over the phone have had a major impact to face-to-face communication. Instead of taking the time to walk to a friend's house to tell them something, it becomes easier and more convenient to just pick up your phone and call them. According to Good Therapy blog section in the article titled How Texting Changes Communication, contained in goodtherapy.org, last updated 2012 by Zon Wilness, texting encourages rapid-fire, single-sentences thoughts, but this style of communication isn't conducive to face-to-face communication. Consequently, people who text become more uncomfortable with in-person communication and are more likely to text somebody in their presence rather than just say it to them. So phones have lessened face-to-face communication, but they've also made handwriting letters largely unnecessary. Due to the ease of simply being able to pick up the phone and contact somebody on the other side of the state or even the country, letters have become far less important. In the case of televisions, news has never been easier to acquire. It used to take someone going into town and either talking to someone or reading a handwritten informative to learn the daily news. Now, however, someone is able to sit down on the couch and choose their preferred channel and get all the information they need for that day. Finally, if technology is growing and becoming more and more commonly used, how has social media impacted communication? Social media has become the backbone of our society. Its impact on communication has been both positive and negative. A couple of positive impacts include in-depth, long-distance relationships, as well as mass informing. With social media, a person can follow a friend or a family member who lives across the globe from them, and based on their posts, stay up to date with their daily lives. Social media also allows for very easy mass informing. It only takes a couple minutes to post something on one of your different platforms, and it reaches all your followers within seconds. A couple of the negative impacts include dating apps, as well as causing people to become socially awkward. Dating apps have taken communication that helps build healthy relationship and has put it in fast forward. This lack of communication and pre-built relationship often lead to shorter and less stable relationships. Social media has also leads people to becoming more socially awkward. This is because people are spending more and more time looking at pictures of people's lives rather than being in the moment and sharing some of those times with them. We need to learn how to focus on the positives and limit the negative distractions. In closing, today I spoke about the impact of communication before technology, with technological devices, and with social media in its current state. As a society, it is up to us to find a balance between the way we communicate and the way it was used to be done. According to the technological quotes section contained in brainyquotes.com, website with no latest update by Steven Spielberg, technology can be our best friend, and technology can also be the biggest party pooper of our lives. At the end of the day, it's up to us.